What's up, Trojans? Okay, so the Giants make the postseason officially with a dominant victory over the Colts yesterday, Sunday. What an epic game. It was so nice to have a game this season where the Giants just are winning. Like, almost the entire game, the Giants are just winning, and then it's never in doubt. I mean, yeah, they were down a little bit early, not looking amazing, but right after that, it was just Danny Dimes just showed up, threw 2 touchdown passes, then did a little encore running for 2. It was amazing to see. And then Landon Collins, showing shades of 2016 Landon Collins, had the pick 6. The last year the Giants made the postseason, ironically enough. And his pick 6 last time was the London Collins moment against the Rams. And the Giants also got the win in London this season. But I think this team is much better than that 2016 team. This team, I think, actually has a shot in the postseason. That team had to face the Packers right away and lost horribly and ended up being absolute garbage for the next several years. This team, I feel like, is different. This team has a shot against likely the Vikings because the Niners won and the Vikings lost on Sunday. I think this team against the Vikings matches up really well, and I think the Giants have a real shot at winning a postseason game. What they do after that is all up to them. They've defied odds this entire season. I don't want to bet on them. I don't want to bet against them. I want to see how this plays out as a fan, and I'm excited. I'm really excited that the Giants are making the postseason. But first, there's still one more game left in the season, right? Danny Dimes has showed up. The defense looking pretty good, getting guys like Xavier McKinney back, right? So we have the guys available. Adoree Jackson might come back at some point. I hope Adoree Jackson's back for the postseason. But we have the Eagles to play next week. The Philadelphia Eagles. Longtime rival, my least favorite team in the NFL. I hope the Giants go all out against the Eagles and beat them next week. And then, honestly, I hope that victory against the Eagles means something. I hope Dallas beats Washington and the Eagles lose their precious first seed. They've had it almost all season. They've been sitting on it. They've been, very excited about it. Like, the best team in the NFL. I hope they lose it at the last second. And honestly, they deserve to lose it after a loss to the Saints. I don't care who's the quarterback. I mean, you had to win that one. Eagles still look pretty good against Dallas even. Gardner Minshew put up a lot of points on Dallas, and the defense just gave up more points. That loss seemed like a whatever. I think a Jalen Hurts Eagles isn't much different. They put up a lot of points in that one. And then against the Saints, they didn't put up as many points, and the defense still gave up more points than the offense could put up. That's how you lose a football game. Eagles are falling apart late in the year. If the Giants can add on to that and cost them the first seed, that would be amazing. I want Brian Daboll to send everything he has against the Eagles. Not every trick play in the book, necessarily. Save some stuff for likely the Vikings. But I want to see the Giants go all in against the Eagles next week. A little bit of shades of 2007, right? Tom Coughlin did the same thing back then. No need to go crazy. Giants had their playoff spot and seed secured. Giants went all out against the Patriots in 2007 and played them close. And the Patriots were shocked about it. I hope the Giants don't lose a close game against Philly. I hope the Giants beat Philly next week. I want to see that same thing happen. And it would be a little bit of payback for 2020. The 6-10 Giants did not deserve to make the playoffs in the 2020 season, but they had a shot the last week of the year. The last game, the Giants beat Dallas to give themselves a shot if the Eagles beat Washington later that night. The Eagles had announced that they weren't going to take the game a ton seriously. They were going to, rest. Jalen Hurts was playing instead of their starting quarterback. I forget who it was at the time. Carson Wentz, maybe Nick Foles. I don't know. I forget these things. But Jalen Hurts was going to play that game. And Jalen Hurts went out, and he looked okay. He had the Eagles, and the Eagles looked like they were about to win that game. But then they sat Jalen Hurts even. The Eagles wanted to lose that game so they could get the better draft pick, and so they blew it. They blew the game. Washington won, went to the postseason to immediately get eliminated. I think the Giants can give the Eagles a little bit of payback on that. Send everybody at the Eagles on Sunday. Daniel Jones should play. Saquon should play. I'm not saying, rush Saquon 35 times. I'm not saying do a ton of runs with Daniel Jones, but play the game. Play football on Sunday. That's what the Giants need to do. And I'm I'm recording this just after I found out what happened in the Bills game. That might end up influencing Brian Daboll's decision. He had not come out definitively as of today and announced which way he was going to go on it. All of the questions he was asked were by people raising the same points I raised, the historic rivalry against the Eagles and Tom Coughlin's decision in 2007. And Brian Daboll seemed to respect Coughlin's decision, but he said that he would do what is right for the team in 2022 instead of, directly go off of an 2007 Giants team. Whatever Brian Daboll decides, I'll be okay with it. It's like, fine, whatever, I get it. You want to rest the starters and, save them from injury, especially in the light of the horrific injury and very serious situation going on with the Bills player right now. I don't know much about it. I just got like a notification basically, and that may weigh in on Daboll's decision, but I would like to see the Giants go all in against the Eagles Sunday. Like I said, not go all in, right? But I would like to see the Giants really try to win that one, right? Don't use every trick play in the playbook, but honestly, if you think that trick play right there is going to work, use it. It's good practice. Doesn't mean it won't ever work again. Could maybe still get to work against the Vikings in the postseason. But yeah, I'd like to see the Giants beat the Eagles next week. Definitely possible. And the Eagles, they might have to rush Jalen Hurts back to play in that, especially if Daboll announces he's sending in the starters. However, I also wouldn't be opposed if Daboll does a little bit of both, right? McAdoo, he did this in 2016. He had this a very similar situation. Giants had their wild card spot locked up. It was the 5th seed instead of the 6th seed, but these things happen. And he started. Odell played a good bit of the game, and I think a couple defenders, played a little bit of the game, like star defenders like Jason Pierre-Paul and stuff, played a little bit of the game and then sat him out. And Giants ended up winning that game. If something similar happens with the Giants this week, I won't be terribly upset, but I think it would be a horrible idea, just in terms of momentum and everything, to sit the starters. Again, I would see where Daboll's coming from if he decides to sit the starters, but I don't think that's what the Giants need right now. I think they need to keep this momentum up. Even if they do lose a close one, they gotta play well. The Giants have momentum right now with the win against Washington, the good game against Minnesota, albeit an eventual loss, but there were mistakes that needed to be corrected, and they were definitely corrected against the Colts. And so now the Giants have a shot to really send a message to the NFL, a message to a division rival, and I hope they are able to capitalize on that. And I hope if any game is announced to be the Sunday night game, it is the Dallas-Washington game, because that would be so much fun if the Giants beat the Eagles early, and then everyone, goes to watch the Dallas-Washington game. But maybe there's even a better game. I think Detroit and Green Bay is playing for a playoff spot. Who would have thought Green Bay would be where they are this late? They've had some very successful games late in the season. I don't really care who's the 7th seed. It could be Green Bay, could be Detroit, could be even Seattle. I mean, any of those teams, they've played well this season. They could all be deserving of that 7th seed. But if it's Green Bay, with how hot they've been, watch out, 2nd seed. That'd be the Niners. Ooh, in all likelihood, that'd be the Niners. Oh, that's a game. Yeah, Green Bay, Detroit would be my recommendation for a primetime game. But Dallas, Washington, assuming the Giants beat the Eagles earlier, would also be a fun game later that night. We'll see how it all plays out. I'm excited that the Giants are in the postseason once again. I'm ready to watch that game. In all likelihood against the Vikings. I'm mentally planning for it to be against the Vikings. Really excited about that. The Niners have an easy game to win against the Cardinals this week. In all likelihood, the 49ers can beat the Cardinals playing for the 2nd seed. And excited to see the matchup, the rematch, Giants-Vikings. A 61-yard field goal kicked by Graham Gano for the victory. I can see it now. See you guys in the next one. Go Giants.